treatment literally took the most from my body. Life after cancer. Everyone thinks once you're told that you are no evidence of disease in your body and you're good, that we just move on with our lives and everything's good and we don't think about it ever again and we just resume back to normal lives. But it isn't the truth, not even close to the truth of a cancer survivor life. I'm happy when I'm told I'm NED, and I had my moment of feeling amazing and great that I just beat this. But shortly after, once that excitement wore off, I started worrying again. What if it comes back? What if this ends up killing me? What if I'm only in remission for this period of time? It would always be on my mind. How long do I have to live? You're always thinking these thoughts. You live in fear. It's scary. It affected my work, and I felt like I was in mental jail and that I was almost handicapped mentally because I couldn't get my mind off cancer and what could happen. I was constantly fighting depression over it. Going through what I went through, you definitely have a different perspective on life. You love harder, you love unconditionally, you appreciate the small things. You just view life in a different way. I'm gonna tell you some real shit right now. I don't know if my husband and I would have still been together to this very day if it wasn't for cancer. We were at a place where we were just kind of doing our own thing and going our separate ways. We had 3 years in of a kid and he was our life and he kept us busy, and we stopped spending time for us and we just focused on him and we focused on our career and building. And I feel like we were kind of going our separate ways. And as we were kind of going our separate ways, boom, we were hit with cancer. So with this one particular thing, I thank cancer that I'm still with my amazing husband today. He was a huge part of my healing journey. He didn't miss one appointment, not one treatment, not one doctor's visit. He was there every step of the way. He brought his positivity and positive outcome that he knew I was going to beat this. And he told me, and he pumps me up every day. When you go through something so deep with somebody, it's just a whole nother level of love for one another. I struggled so hard mentally with life after cancer. I kept it very internal. No one really truly knew how I felt. I expressed to people that I worried. And before every scan, I would be stressing to the max. What if it comes back? What if this scan's not good? I've expressed to people close to me how I felt, but I never truly expressed the deep mental toll it took on me and how much depression it brought me. I would go to work every day and pretend like everything's okay, but deep down inside, that's all I thought about. Everything revolved around cancer. What I put in my mouth. Am I putting poison in my mouth? Or if I'm eating something healthy? What if I do this? Is this gonna bring cancer back? What if I always thought about cancer. There was not one day that passed by where I didn't think about it or bring it up to my husband. He was always so patient, saying, Natalie, don't worry, you're gonna be good. You're gonna be good. Try to live in the moment, try to focus on the now. I was in a rut, bad, very bad. I felt like I was just going through the motions daily. I yearned to be who I was before cancer. Driven, motivated, strive for the best, unstoppable. That's who I was before cancer. And I wanted to be that person again. I just didn't know how to get there or what to do. I kept telling myself, okay, let me go through the next scan. If I get through the next scan, I'll be good. I would live my life in 3 months increments. I didn't want to plan anything after the scan because I didn't know what to expect. So I would say, nope, I can't do anything. I can't plan anything until after I do my scan. So it was like a hard stop in my life, living in 3 months increments. Terrible way to live. I kept thinking, let me just get through the next scan. I'll be okay after the next scan. I'd be okay for that day that I was good, but then I would just go right back into that rut again. This went on for about 1.5 years. I would constantly worry about it coming back. For the first year after treatment, I felt like complete shit. I felt tired. I felt achy. I felt like crap. I felt just awful, like dog shit. At this point, I finally had gotten off prednisone. And as soon as I got down to the lower doses of prednisone, like 1 milligrams, 2 milligrams, I started feeling really ill. I felt dizzy. I felt lightheaded. I was weak. My hair was falling out like crazy. I was in so much pain. I lost so much weight. I told my oncologist, something's not right. They said, we need to check your cortisol. They told me normally these treatments attack your pituitary gland, which creates cortisol in your body. So I took a cortisol test, and of course, unfortunately, that was true. Treatment destroyed my pituitary gland. It can get really confusing if I get too detailed. So, pituitary gland is right here in the center of your head. What it does is it signals down to your adrenal glands to create cortisol. It releases multiple times a day, creating cortisol. Well, now that my pituitary gland is gone, it's not talking to my adrenal glands saying, hey, create cortisol. It's time to create cortisol. Well, cortisol controls all your hormones in your body, getting up in the morning, feeling good, all that. And this was destroyed in my body. Great. I'm at a loss for words. They said I would have to go on a steroid for the rest of my life in order for me to be able to function properly. They told me that I have to be super careful about making sure I'm taking all of my pills at certain times of the day, because if I don't, I will go into adrenal crisis where I can be hospitalized. Having cortisol in your body is crucial, and you can't live without cortisol being in your body. I instantly said, I'm not doing any prednisone. What else do you have? What other options are there? I'm not gonna look like that for the rest of my life. I'd rather die. My appearance was very important to me, and I didn't want to look like that again. They suggested hydrocortisone, which I take 3 times a day, morning, lunch, and early afternoon. My endocrinologist told me that I would be on it for the rest of my life. I told her I'm not going to be on it for the rest of my life. And she said, okay, if that's what you want to think. So I told her I'm gonna get off of it one day. I'm not gonna be on it for the rest of my life. So a lot of you guys know that I am an avid spray tanner. Love my spray tans, especially since I don't go in the sun anymore and I don't with that sun. Okay. So I spray tan because I want to look like I'm glowing, baby. So, once a week I get my spray tan, and then I also scrub it off. I exfoliate. I was exfoliating my skin to prep my skin for the next spray tan. And I started noticing on my legs and arms that my spray tan wasn't coming off all the way, and it was coming off splotchy, and I couldn't seem to scrub it off. After scrubbing my skin, I noticed that it wasn't coming off and that it was a part of my skin. I had vitiligo all over my body. My skin tone was all uneven. So I went to my oncologist, and they confirmed it was vitiligo, and that treatment gave that to me. It attacked the melanin in my skin, and that there was unfortunately nothing that they could do, and that I would have it for the rest of my life. I go to my dermatologist and I show them, and they said, we don't want to give you pills because it triggers the melanin in your skin, and we don't want to trigger any type of melanin in your skin, especially what you went through. They said that at this point, if it got to my face, there was a topical cream that they can give me. But at this time, it didn't spread to my face, and still to this very day, it did not spread to my face, which I'm so grateful for. I was continuing on with skin checks every 6 months, and as all these weird things were happening to me, I noticed that my moles on my body that I've had either on my arms or legs are disappearing. They're going away. The treatment literally took the moles from my body. I've gone to a scan every 3 months, and then this past scan that I just had, they bumped me to 4 months. There are so many things that I do to keep up with my health, to keep the cancer away, because I'd be damned if that shit came back. To keep up with my health after cancer, I did a lot of vitamin IVs with high vitamin C's. I did glutathione for my liver, and I also was on a very strict diet. I have multiple vitamins and supplements that focuses towards killing away cancer cells. And I'll get more into detail on next episode. So, as I mentioned in the previous episode, I connected with a lot of people in the melanoma community. There was about 5 girls that I really stayed in touch with every single day, and we kept up with each other. There was this one particular girl where instantly I connected with. Her name was Dana. She lived in North Carolina, and she was fighting melanoma. It had actually went to her brain, and her and I just connected on a level that I never connected with anyone else on. We shared the same thoughts, the same experiences. She was on prednisone like I was. She loved beauty like me. She made me laugh. We had just that natural connection with one another. I ended up flying to North Carolina to just spend the day with her. We hung out and I really enjoyed her. We literally talked every single day and stayed in touch. She would keep me up to date on her health, and I tried to give her as much hope as possible that she's going to beat this. She went through full brain radiation, and I told her I just wanted to treat her and fly her and her family to Florida. Put them in a hotel on the beach. I wanted to pamper them and give them a full spa day at my spa, whatever services they wanted. I also hired a photographer to capture special moments of me and her her mom on the beach. With sadness, she didn't make it. I literally talked to her up until she passed. The last text I got from her was, "This is it, Natalie. I'm gonna die." And she sent me the results of her MRI that the cancer took over her brain. That was hard. That was so hard. I felt empty. No one got me on the level that she did. No one understood me like Dana did. And now it was gone and stripped from me. I had a funeral in North Carolina, and I flew in for the day, and I helped her family set up. And there was a long table of all the little things, pictures and bracelets and knickknacks of hers that they put together. So I was unloading that and putting it on the table for display. Then I saw this blanket that she gave her mother, and it just hit me like a ton of bricks. I started sobbing, and I couldn't stop crying. I thought to myself, I don't know how I'm gonna make it through this funeral without literally looking like a complete mess. One of her mom's good friends came over to me and held me and prayed over me. She prayed for strength during this funeral. And then after she was done praying, it was almost like a relief and weight lifted off of me to carry me through the funeral. Her friend asked, "How do you know Dana?" And I told her. I met her through the melanoma community. We were both fighting cancer at the same time. We connected. And her passing of melanoma hit home. It hit deep. It was painful to watch. The family was so loving towards me. They had a thing where all the close family and friends were in a room prior to walk into the auditorium where all the other people were. So once everyone was in the auditorium, the family and close friends, we walked down in and sat at the front rows. To have them include me in on a family level touched my heart deeply. I connected with a lot of people in the community and stayed close with many girls. Out of the 5 girls that I connected with, 4 of them passed. And one of them was in remission like me, and we celebrated. And then it came back and went to her brain, and 4 months later she passed. I told myself, I'm not getting close to anyone anymore that is fighting cancer, because I brought myself so close to these girls that it was almost bringing me down watching them all pass, because I felt like I was just going to be the next person. I was not strong at that time. I was weak, trying to be strong for them. After I went to Dana's funeral, I dropped off. I completely disconnected myself from the community. I couldn't do it anymore. It was too hard for me. I was mentally struggling so much, and being connected to the community made it worse for me, especially when things didn't go right. I told my husband I was in a rut and I was trying to find a purpose for life. I didn't want to do too much with my business because I was afraid that I would get myself in a situation and then leave it behind for my family and husband to figure out. I wanted to make sure everything was settled and set. And it's just a crazy way of thinking. My husband then said, why don't you go to like a motivational group or get a business coach to help you or to hold you accountable or whatever? And I said, at that time I really wasn't looking for a coach. I was just looking for motivation and for someone to hold me accountable. That's when I met Sheila and Laura. They had a retreat where there was so many successful business owners in the beauty industry. And they had this event for 4 days out in California that they held. And so I bought that ticket right away. I flew out to California, and that's where it changed. Life-changing, life-altering event. I connected with so many positive, inspirational people, with so many successful business owners. I shared my story while I was there and what brought me to California. It changed my mindset, and now I'm in a better place mentally. I'm in the position where I'm mentally strong enough to share my story and relive it. And I can help others have hope and give them knowledge that they need to get through this. My next episode will be on things that I did to alter my life to fight cancer. My lifestyle changes during my fight and after my fight, and what I'm doing currently. So stay tuned, because I want you to hear all about it.